Hello everybody, welcome to Ascent number 17, the last but one. You might have noticed that we started from a different point today. We actually started from our offices in Church Street in town rather than from home. The reason for that being that we were in the offices doing some work beforehand, and also that when we looked at the mathematics, we realized that the 18 ascents that we're doing, if one of them was from the slightly higher altitude of the office, the total amount of our ascent still totals a few meters more than the height of Everest. So we've allowed ourselves the luxury today of starting from a slightly higher position and giving you some slightly different views of the hills. So today I want to wrap up on talking about the Davis Dyslexia program by looking at two further key elements of the program that we haven't talked about yet. One of them is symbol mastery for words, and the other is the Davis reading exercises. Now, in the Davis Dyslexia program, we have a concept called trigger words. Trigger words are the common abstract words that make up probably about 60 or 70% of what we read. It's the words like the, if, and, but, how, when, and so on. And the thing about these words is that they don't evoke a mental image of what they mean. So if you think a word like elephant, you probably get a picture. Surprise, you might get a feeling. Yeah. Bark, you might get a sound, and so on. Yeah. But a word like the, you get nothing, and that's important to a picture-thinking dyslexic individual, because what's then happening is it's like when you're reading and you're picturing the meaning of what you're reading, which is how a picture thinker understands what they're reading. You're constantly confronted with these blanks. It's like hitting against a blank screen all the time. The blank screen comes with the feeling of confusion, and the confusion can cause disorientation in reading, which can then cause perceptual distortion and reading problems. So in the latter stages of a Davis program, we focus especially on these trigger words, okay? And what we do is a process where, using the plasticine clay and using the Davis symbol mastery procedure for words, which you can find in Ronald Davis's book, The Gift of Dyslexia, or by attending a Gift of Dyslexia workshop, or via a Davis program with a Davis facilitator. So we would then guide the person that we're working with through a creative process, a brainstorming process based around a simple children's dictionary definition, where we would take one of these words, or we would take these words one at a time and explore what they mean until the point where the person we're working with has a mental picture as to how they would show that meaning in plasticine. And if we take the word by, the definition for which might be beside or next to, then the model could be something as simple as the ball is by the book. So here we have a ball, and I can quite quickly make something that resembles a book. Okay. Then we'd have the word, which would be made and placed in front of the model, and you'd have something that looks like this. And there's then a procedure for internalizing the word that's been made by kind of addressing it and making a mental image of it. Again, the procedure for that is in Ron Davis's book, The Gift of Dyslexia. And so this process is done just one by one in a very simple way on each of the words, the trigger words in the language. There are a little over 200 of them that constitute about 60 or 70% of what we read. The other element that comes at the latter stages of a Davis program is the Davis reading exercises, which are a gentle visual spatial process that focuses on the individual letters in a word and where they are. So this is an approach that provides a very easy route into reading, in particular for those picture-thinking individuals who haven't responded well to phonic-based reading tuition. And just to give you a sense of this, the instructions for this again are in Ron's book, The Gift of Dyslexia. But here's just a series of a few words. So, beard, bread, dread, and dared. In order to be able to read these words by any reading teaching method, your first step has to be able to recognize each of the letters, to recognize the letters in the correct position, and to recognize and to be able to perceive the word as a sequence of letters that starts on the left and ends on the right. If your perception of the position of the letters and of their sequence is not accurate, no reading teaching method in the world is going to be able to help you. You will not be able to distinguish beard from bread, bread from dread, dread from dead. So the first step in any approach to the learning of reading must be accurate perception of the position of the letters and of their sequence in a word. And that's what we focus on in the Davis reading exercises. That's why the Davis reading exercises use letter names rather than letter sounds, enabling an individual to build a direct relationship with each of those letters, perceive it exactly for what it is, and perceive where it is. And once again, further instructions for the reading exercises you'll find in Ron's book. And so now, onwards and upwards.